Welcome back to another Rockford UFS Deck Profile Mortal Kombat X-ish thing we're doing right now. Haven't come up with the title yet, but a special guest with me tonight, first time ever on the channel, is Barry Everson, right here to my right, your left on the screen. Barry was kind enough to join us and talk about his awesome Cassie deck that he's been playing locally, and he shared with me. And yeah, so Barry, why don't you introduce yourself? Like I already introduced you, but tell people your history in card games and leading up to UFS.
All right. I've played basically every card game under the sun at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing Magic in Alpha. I played that for 24 years on and off. I haven't played it in about a year and a half.
Sure.
Qualified for the Pro Tour twice. Back when you actually had to play in large events to qualify. I've played Yu-Gi-Oh! I won one of the Shonen Jumps in Massachusetts 2005, 2006. I topped a bunch of the regionals, stopped playing because the game got ridiculous. Pokemon, everybody in the 90s played that from like the day it came out.
Yeah.
And the Score Dragon Ball Z game.
Yeah.
I loved the Score Dragon Ball Z game, but when it came out, I was just way too young. I tried playing it competitively, but I was poor as hell, and those cards were expensive as hell.
Yes, they are. They still are, actually, which is surprising.
Luckily, now I have like Champion Drill and all that stuff now, but
cool.
Back then, it was like $400 or $500 back then, and I think I was like 12 or 13 years old. I couldn't afford that.
Yeah, you couldn't afford that.
So, I also played the Panini version of the game when it was rehashed in 2014 or 2015.
Sure.
Went to basically every regional I could physically make it to. And I tested like crazy for that game. And then at every single event, I would show up, build something 20 minutes before the event, and just play that because I didn't care.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I went to Worlds every single year. I didn't qualify for it, but I went every year because it was only in Texas, so it was only like 8 or 9 hours away.
Sure.
Plus, I had last chance qualifiers, and the last Worlds, the last chance qualifier, it ended up being me and Corey Aguilar, who top-aided Worlds this year with Spike in the finals.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
And he got an amazing opening hand and absolutely crushed me. I had no shot.
Yeah.
But that led into, like, when that game died and canceled and the Dragon Ball Super game came out, which I'm just not a fan of. I had nothing to play. I had no games. And our friend Jared Hubbard sent us a message because he was from here. And, well, he's from Georgia.
Okay.
But he lives here. And when he moved back there for work, he started playing with, like, Keenan Meadows and the guys up there.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And he sent us a message asking us if we had ever heard about the game. Well, we heard about it. I heard about UFS back in 06, 07, but they also had, was it Epic Battles that came out at the same time?
Yeah, it was a different, it's like, that was like Mortal Kombat's version. It was called like Epic Battles, and then they had UFS, which was like the other fighting game licenses.
Yeah, and that game was just a little bit more popular back then, and at that point, I was just playing Magic competitively, so I just never really got into them.
Oh yeah, because Magic's a 24/7 thing. You usually don't have a side. You don't have a side bitch with that game. So
yeah. You don't have the chance. If you're trying to play it competitively, you're testing 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like 16, 17, so I had no life. He told me that Street Fighter was just released. Yeah. Like the game had. I only started playing right after Street Fighter released.
Oh, okay.
And Street Fighter, my favorite fighting game of all time.
Sure.
I used to play Street Fighter Alpha competitively in my locals. I went to a couple of the big events in Universal Studios back when they held them there in the 90s.
Okay.
But never did anything. I sucked at the game. I love it, but I suck at it.
Yeah. I get it.
I'm horrible at games.
Yeah, me too.
And he told me about that, and I was instantly. I went out and I spent like $800 on a case and a bunch of stuff. And Corey started picking up stuff like the week before I did. And of course, he bought all the good control cards. Like he had shipping, like Robert Kick.
Yeah, the Robert Kick. Yeah.
Nobody had any Robert Kick, so I didn't get those. I didn't get Novoses.
Yeah.
But he had that stuff.
Yeah.
So the first deck I built was Satoshi, which kind of locked my playing style into aggressive, just swing them out, hope you don't die kind of decks. And I'm trying to stray away from that, but Cassie is kind of like a middle ground between that.
Yeah.
She likes to just get out there, attack, and hope she doesn't die.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, she can play the defensive part, but it's not as solid as. I mean, Shadow Inheritance is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, Shadow Inheritance is just dumb. Yeah, that card's dumb. So, do you want to get right into the deck then? Since it's a pretty good segue.
Oh yeah, sure, that's no problem.
All right, man. It's your show, so let me know where you want to start, and I'll take the cursor and go over whatever cards you need me to.
All right, so probably just go over Cassie first.
Okay.
She's a 6-hand, 27 life. Her abilities are when a your non-throw attack gets +1 speed or +1 damage for each non-attack card preceding it in your card pool. At first, I thought it should have been, speed and damage, but I can say after playing her that would have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then, of course, the second E is the once per turn. Add 1 card from your staging area to the beginning of your card pool. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may add 1 foundation revealed this way to your staging area. Then add the remaining cards to the top of your deck in any order. Now, one of the cool things about that is it does say add 1 card. It doesn't say add a foundation. So you can add assets. You can add, well, pretty much just assets. But
if you want to stack Cassies, I guess you could stack Cassies, I guess. But, you can add a Cassie if you wanted. If you stacked Cassies, but there'd be no reason to.
You could. I built a version of her on good with White House. So if I had another White House that I was planning on playing or stuck in my hand, I take it, throw it in the card pool if I had to.
Now, this is before your time, but there was a card. Have you ever heard of a card called UFS House?
I have not.
Okay, so this is a champ asset from, I think, batch 1. So it would have rotated, I think, either before you, it would have rotated before you started, but it had a form where you got to look at the top 4 cards of your deck and place them in any order. So you could, basically, she's just like a neutered version of UFS House, like her E is. So you get to pick 3, add 1, and then stack the rest. You don't even have to add the one of them. You can just rearrange your checks if you want, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you should look that up. It's really funny because you'll be like, wow, that card's busted, and it really was. It was really good. But go ahead, continue.
That sounds pretty good. Of course, that's before my time. So when I built this, I tried to keep the block zones as even as I could.
Okay.
I don't like building decks with a lot of non-blocks.
Okay.
I know in her it's not that important because she's such an aggressive deck.
Yes.
But I still try to avoid it. I try to keep it as even as I can.
Yeah.
So for foundations, we've got 1 Curious Magnetism, and then 4 Fei, and those kind of just go hand in hand together if you're playing in order. Got Hacker Extraordinaire, which has been ridiculous. I want to throw a second one in here, but I'm trying to keep the count as low as I can.
Yeah.
I've used this to flip Swordfish 2 multiple times. The card is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Plus, you can stack stuff with Cassie and then draw it.
Yeah.
And it's just one of the cards that I think there should be 2 in this deck. I just find a way to fit it in there.
Yeah, if you see that you're, like, I see you have one in the side. If you're always bringing it in, it might as well just be main board, honestly. That's usually like the rule of thought. If you're always siding in something, it should always just be main boarded.
I completely agree. I've got a High Seas Adventure in the main deck, which I'm actually considering moving to the sideboard and making it in the side and just 2 Hacker Extraordinaire in the main.
Sure.
Because High Seas Adventure is great, but I feel there's some matchups where it's just dead.
Yep.
And I won't say it's dead all the time, but sometimes I just don't want to use it.
It's really good against Fatality.
Yes. Very good against Fatality. There's quite a few cards it's very good against.
Yes.
But it's one of those cards where I think I'd rather have it on the sideboard. I have to do a little more testing with it. But,
sure.
Next, we have Armor Expert, which is, players with more than 1 foundation must add 1 foundation to the top of their decks. That's good for being able to stack your Cassie effect to make sure you get something you want. Like if you use an ability on one, be able to stack it back on top, then Cassie, put that back into play.
Yep.
Be able to use abilities more than once. I've done it a few times with Goro's Victory Pose, where you flip Goro's Victory Pose, stack it back on top of the deck.
Then bring it back down.
Of course, after you take damage from an unblocked attack, draw a card.
Yep.
Which, that's just great. Then I'm going to go into, let's see, what's next? Season Guide. Season Guide's perfect for this deck. It's basically just a spam, doesn't add to progressive. The after you play an attack is played effect is really strong in her because you want to know what's on the top of the deck a lot with her. Especially if the attacks you're playing are glow kicks.
Yes. Fun note about this card: if you do you have it in here? You do. Carrying, if you carrying the legacy, say you block, say like you're able to, I forget how you can do it, but you can get a season guide in defensive. Okay, so if you bring up season guide on your opponent's turn, you can look at the top card of your deck when your opponent plays attacks because it says after an attack is played. So you could put a season guide on top, into your card pool using Cassie's ability, and then you can see the top card of your deck every time they play an attack. So it's kind of neat. It's a neat little trick that you can do with her defensively. So that's pretty, that's something I found out. One of my local players did that against me, and I was like, that's kind of neat,
I actually, Carrying the Legacy is the next card on the list.
Sure.
This card is really, really good for Cassie. Not just because of the +1 damage, but its ability is playable while committed.
Yes.
And you don't actually have to add a foundation from your card pool to your staging area. You do have the option of just putting it into the card pool, which has happened multiple times. But the fact that you can do it while committed, you can commit out and be able to still have a few little tricks you can do.
Yep.
That card is an MVP. Not only that, but every single card in Cassie's support has a +2, whether it's high, low, or mid.
Oh, you're right.
All +2.
Yeah, that's really good.
So what do we got next? Leading the team. Leading the team is really good. It's her spam. So 1/5. While this card is in your card pool, opponent's block modifiers get +1. That's great because you're basically always throwing these cards into the card pool. So it just makes things harder to block.
Yeah,
this card has come in pretty handy quite a few times.
Okay.
So I have done one turn 1 kill before my opponent got to do anything, which was kind of nice.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's pretty cool.
I'll go over that after I go through this.
Okay.
Sense of Morals is her rare foundation. This card does not count towards progressive, so it's Season Guide 2.0, or actually it's 2.5 because its ability is ridiculously strong.
Yes, it is.
That check 4 to ready a foundation that's been committed due to an opponent's effect is ridiculous. As much as I love this card, I think that should be once per turn.
Yeah.
That card is bonkers good.
Especially with all the stun in the format right now. Like all the stun in the format, this card, I'm not surprised this card's like $20 each. I'm surprised, so it's just nuts.
I've got well over 16 of them. They're in every deck I build.
Yeah.
Shadow Inheritance is basically Cassie's effect 2.0. You can give your attack +1 speed or +1 damage for each non-attack proceeding in your card pool. It's also a +2 low block with Breaker 1.
Yep.
Which comes in very handy. The commit before a player attempts to block this attack, their block modifier gets +1 or -3 for each non-attack card in the card pool. That is insane.
Yeah.
I can play 2 cards and basically guarantee block every card they play.
Yep.
As long as I have this in play.
Yep.
And if they're stupid enough to stun it, well, Sense of Morals means I'm blocking every attack you play.
Yeah, exactly.
This card has given me the wins so many times because of that +1 block one.
Yeah.
Let's see what's next. Goro's Victory Pose. This card's ridiculous. Flip action cards cannot be played during this attack. I only have, one mid block. Everything else can be dealt with by Prepare to Fight.
Okay.
One mid attack. And this card basically just says Prepare to Fight doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's also great for cards like bang on your opponent's your opponent's turn.
Punch and Judy. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
Punch and Judy's. I've done that. I actually did that yesterday. One of my locals we were testing, and he was playing the Liu Kang deck that won, I believe, at the Alberta round.
Okay.
And he tried to go in for the kill. He started playing punches and Judies, and as soon as he played the first one, I flipped the board's victory pose, and he basically just ended his turn right there and let that just go through, which gave enough time to swing back for the kill.
Yeah, nice.
The next card, Senshi no Sanshi. This card, I don't think it's good in any deck except for Cassie. This card is ridiculously good in Cassie.
Sure.
After you play this card, your next check gets +2 to this turn is extremely powerful when you're trying to fill your card pool with foundations and then play checks after them.
Yeah.
This card is actually the reason I got my turn 1 kill.
Okay.
Basically, I played a season guide into a sense of morals.
Mm-hmm.
I then played a why can't I think of the name? Nutcracker.
Okay.
I was playing against Plantman. So I used the E, got +4 damage, added a what did I add? Oh, I didn't even add anything. I just passed.
Yeah.
He took 8 damage because he didn't even have anything to defend with. Then I played Senshi no Sanshu. Got the +2 to my next check. And then I played a Hydra Fork.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So I was then able to use the Hydra Fork, which I passed because of the +2 to the check.
Yep. And
just empty my card pool and kill him right there.
Nice.
He got a little faulty.
That's actually pretty hilarious.
I thought it was hilarious. He didn't. It was fun. Next card is Funky Tomato, which is basically just built-in anti-cat, anti-punch and Judy.
Yep.
Just one in the deck. It might end up making it to the sideboard for another Boar's Victory Pose or maybe another Templar. But I like the card for now.
Yep.
+4 block kind of sucks, but
but usually don't ever block with it. Usually just play it anyway. So on the off chance.
I don't think I've ever blocked with it. Then I got 3 Fallen Masters in here, which is just a solid 1/6 spam. Commit this attack. It's -1 speed, -1 damage, which can come in handy. It's got the +2 high block.
Yep.
But it's mostly in there for the 6 check because I'm trying to play so many attacks in one turn.
Yeah.
After foundations, so I've got to have those high checks.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the only reason that or the next card is in there, Arranging a Deal.
Yep.
I've got 2 Arranging a Deal, and that's in there for the same reason. It's a +2 mid, and it's a 1/6.
Yep.
The Desperation E is great, but that's not what it's in there for.
Yeah.
Next card is the High Seas Adventure, which I'm considering cutting for the Hacker Extraordinaire.
Yep.
That card obviously is great against everything, especially against Spike and all those cards like Cats they're trying to kill you with in one turn. Mm-hmm. What do we get next? Rhythmic Fighting Style. I just have 1 in there. It's basically just a singleton +2 with a breaker 1.
Yep.
And it's there for the throw decks.
Yep.
It sometimes comes in handy, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't come in handy, I just cut it, throw in either another Funky Tomato from the sideboard or Hacker Extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Or even a Victory Pose, depending on what I'm playing against.
Yep.
Last foundation is Fallen Angels. I've got that at 3.
Yeah.
Wanted to put a 4th, but I'm kind of stuffed on low blocks. And I don't need the Fallen Angels effect as much unless I play more Hydra Forks, which I'm considering.
Yeah.
And if I do, I will go up to a 4th.
Yeah.
That's basically it for the foundations. Being able to check the top of your deck to make sure you're going to pass the next check is pretty important.
Yeah.
When you're playing so many cards in one turn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. That's all the foundations.
Okay.
So attacks. First one is Akimbo. This card is ridiculous and should have been at least bare minimum rare. This card is everything Cassie could possibly want.
Yeah.
It's a 4/3, 3/3 high with a +2 mid block. It's got EX1 ranged weapon, but those don't matter. Well, the EX kind of does.
Yeah.
This attack gets +X damage, where X equals the printed control first card in your card pool, which is 99% of the time it's always a 5.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sometimes a 6. Then it's got the check 5, draw 1 card of each foundation in your card pool, which you can basically always stack that 5 check with Cassie, and it's almost always at least a 3.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to just stack the top of your deck, choose what you're going to draw, basically, guarantee the draw, and refill your hand off of 1 attack.
Yeah.
This card is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like Baby Scorch Wheel in a way. In a way. It's like
It kind of
Baby
is.
Scorch Wheel. It's not as good as Scorch Wheel, but it's still pretty good.
It's not as good as Scorch Wheel, but it's almost always like a 6, like a 6/8 for a 4 diff.
Yeah, that's insane. That's like, the numbers is crazy.
I'm pretty sure that's the lowest I've ever played it for, is like a 6/8.
Yeah.
Next card is Glow Kick, which is the only mid. It's a 4/3 with a 4 mid, 5 damage, +2 high block. It's got kick, safe, and combo with requirement of foundation. Reveal the top card of your deck. If the reveal card is foundation, add it to the beginning of your card pool. If it was a non-foundation, add it to your hand. Now this card is ridiculous because you can almost always stack top of your deck with Cassie.
Yeah.
You're always going to draw a card. Like, I don't think I've ever put something at the beginning of my foundation with this card.
Yeah, true.
Beginning of my card pool with this card. Then the combo E, giving this attack +2 speed for every foundation in your card pool, preceding it.
Yeah.
That's insane. This attack is almost always getting a damage bonus from Cassie of usually at least like 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then like +8 to 10 speed because of Cassie. It's a pretty big attack.
Yeah.
It's not the most powerful thing you can do with it, but the fact that it's also safe is
it's pretty nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got else. Nutcracker. Nutcracker is probably my favorite card in the set.
Yeah.
This card is ridiculous. Well, every card is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's another 4/3 +2 mid block. It's got Breaker 2, EX3, Punch, Slam, Charge. Those don't matter. But it's a 4 low for 4 that its enhance is almost always going to give it +4 damage. Then you have the ability to add a card to your card pool in any order, so you can place it after or before for basically, tricks like with Hydra Fork. You can stack, make sure you have it in the correct order, and then you get to draw a card. So if you stack with Cassie first, this is just another way to add more cards to your hand.
Yep.
Basically, all of her support, except for Power Flip, draws cards or adds cards to her hand. Let's see. Then we got Power Flip, which is the 5/3. It's got no block, but it's a 5/5, so it doesn't really matter. It's a safe reversal, and it's got stun 1 on the reversal, which is pretty good. Its E is add all foundations from your card pool to your staging area. That card, that's ridiculous.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite card of hers. Like, I love Nutcracker, but Power Flip just is so awesome. It's easily my favorite.
Being able to play Not Over Yet and then like 2 or 3 foundations. You play like 2 foundations, then a Fallen Angels to stack the top of your deck.
Yeah.
And then you play Power Flip, knowing you're going to pass the check. It's going to be a 7/7, and then you're filling your staging area. And you can do this on your first turn before your opponent even gets to do anything.
Yep.
And if you have like another attack in your hand, you can basically say, "Oh well, I'm gonna pass this no matter what because I got the staging area to actually commit out."
Yep. Before they do anything in the game, which is awesome, which is hilarious.
Yep. She can do that a lot. I did that to the same guy yesterday as well with Power Flip. and I ended up hitting him for about 8 damage.
Yeah.
Before he even got to draw, before he even got to play Foundation. It was nice. Then there's Kersplat, which is the 4/3 reversal. Everybody knows what Kersplat does.
Yep.
It's got a +1 low block. If this deals damage, gain 2 vitality, which can come in handy. Then there's the commit, 1 Foundation. The next card you play knows progressive difficulty, which is the biggest reason you play this card.
Yeah.
It originally was at 4, but I ended up cutting 2 for Hydra Fork, which is the next card on the list. Now this card is great because it gives you a 5th and 6th reversal.
Yeah.
But at this point, I've only got it at 2.
Mm-hmm.
It might back up. It might go back down. I'm not sure yet. Then there's Hydra Fork, which is, I'm pretty sure this was designed for Cassie long before Cassie was ever thought of.
Yeah.
It's a 4/2, which is the whole reason I run Fallen Angels. It's got a +1 low block. It's a 4 low for 5 damage.
Yep.
It's powerful 3. It's a slam and a combo. And the combo is attack into Foundation. So the combo E says I may discard Foundations from my card pool in addition to Momentum to play the attack's powerful cost.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have a turn 1, like I explained before, where I just, doesn't count to progressive. Any one of the attacks could be Glow Kick. Nutcracker is probably one of the best ones to deal with, or Akimbo, and deal 6 to 8 damage with the first attack because Cassie can add a lot of damage to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then play a Foundation and play this on a 6. And there's 6 checks in the deck. There's ways to add bonuses to your check, like Senshi no Sanshu, and you can just empty your card pool and bring them down to like desperation before they even get to draw a card. The whole reason this card was in the deck in the first place was this deck needs a way to kill Goro.
Yeah.
This card is like the way you kill Goro.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're struggling. Let's see, what else we got? Not Over Yet is one of the biggest keys to this deck for being able to play long strings.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 2 action with a +2 high block. It's got a form. Your next attack this turn gets +2 speed, +2 damage, and ignores progressive difficulty. Now, the main reason I'm playing this over Throw It Down, which I was originally playing 4 and 4, is this you can play at the very beginning of the card pool.
Yeah.
Play a couple Foundations, and then play the attack and still ignore progressive.
Mm-hmm. So
you can almost always guarantee you're going to pass the check on the attack no matter how many cards are in your card pool.
Yeah.
Which is great. Then it's got the E, discard cards, or X cards, draw X +1, X equals the number of other cards in your card pool.
Yep.
That is also really good, especially if you do that after an Akimbo and you draw a bunch of Foundations. You can just enhance with discard all those Foundations and hope for the draw the attack.
Yep.
So you can continue on with a kill turn.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it times, but it's only been effective like once or twice.
Sure.
I like to just save it for the no progressive.
Yeah.
And then Templar. Templar is just it's Templar.
It's Templar. Yeah.
It's a +1 mid block that gains you 2 and draws you 2.
Yeah. With all the mid attacks now in the format, outside I'd say Cassie's one of the few rare ones that you see very little mid attacks now, like Liu Kang, Reptile, Ermac, whatever. There's a whole bunch of people that just play a bunch of mid attacks, so it's like, Sub-Zero comes to mind too, and
I originally threw it in the deck because of Reptile.
Yeah.
My locals for a little while was like 3 to 4 people playing Reptile.
Oh,
now it's down to about 2. We've got Anthony Hall who plays Reptile.
Yeah.
He drives up from Florida pretty much every Sunday to play with us.
Oh, that's cool.
And then Brad Townsley, he's got Reptile built as well.
Okay.
And we had a couple other people playing Reptile, but some of them have moved on to other decks.
Okay.
Luckily, I don't have to deal with it as often.
Yeah, that's it, because that can just get very, very salty. You just fighting that all the time.
With this deck only having 1 mid attack, Reptile can be really annoying.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
That's actually the whole reason why Plant Barrier is in my sideboard is the 2 of, because it's a mid attack. It can stack top of my deck. It's got Breaker 1. it can come in handy.
The only like one thing I could see that like you could use would be but you're trying to cut down on non-blocks, but you may want to put this into your sideboard. Is Bebop Blues is something you may want to look into because that would stop Reptile Cold at least only on your third attack, but it's still it's still annoying.
I just completely forgot about that card up until like days ago.
Yeah.
I was putting together a Sniper Joe deck and going through all my stuff on good, and I saw it and I was like, oh, well, this is useful.
Yep.
Other than that, the sideboard is pretty simple.
Yep.
High Seas Adventure, just another in case I play against like Spike or something that I need to use it against.
Mm-hmm.
Like Quan Chi, it's really good against for stopping the Let's Parties. It's really good against
Shokan grabs too, right? Isn't that Goro's throw that gets like super huge? Like that.
It's really good against Shokan grab. It's really good against quite a few cards in the format.
Mm-hmm.
I have the one in the main deck, but I think Hacker Extraordinaire might just be the better card for the main deck and just move that to the side.
Yeah.
Not only that, but it's also the only 3-diff in the main, and with Hydrofolks being in there, I have a tendency that if it's my opening hand, it's the first thing I play.
Yeah.
I had a lot of bad experience last year in Nats where I checked the 2 every single game 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was playing Satoshi at Nats last year, and I checked Cannonade every single time.
Oh, that's rough.
My first turn. Didn't matter what it was. I was checking Cannonade.
Yeah. That's rough.
So for the last for the first 6 months after that, I refused to play 2 and 1 checks. But I'm getting back to them.
Yeah.
I'm loving my 2 checks and my 1 checks again.
Yeah.
Playing Scorpion with Poppy Samba.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Let's see what else we have. Dora Victory Code for the obvious reason. Anti Prepare to Fights, anti bangs, anti jealousy and face, which actually has come in handy.
Mm-hmm.
Funky Tomato, another anti cats, anti Punch and Judy card. A second Hacker Extraordinaire, which is probably going to find its way into the main deck.
Yeah.
Because Swordfish 2 is a pain in the ass.
Yep. And it gets rid of Graven Castle and stuff like that too. So,
I've actually used it defensively to flip a pulled my trigger.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, opponents started to go in, and I just used it to pull my trigger to slow their turn down.
Mm-hmm.
And after they used it the first time, they couldn't do anything. They couldn't play any more forms.
Yeah. Or Foundations as forms, yeah.
Is it just forms?
It's Foundations as forms because playing a form is normally playing a card from your hand. So you can play attack still. You just can't play Foundations anymore.
Yeah, they can't play Foundations or assets at that point.
Yeah.
And then they lost their pull my trigger, so they're kind of just it happens. And then 2 Templars for just added safety against other mid attacks.
Yep.
The ability to draw cards is great, but it's mostly in there for the Reptile matchups, for the Liu Kang matchups, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The sideboard is still in work. This is just cards I've been playing with.
Yep.
Plant Barrier is definitely just in there for Reptile, and basically anything that tries to attack low foundation count. It's good against Goro too, because even the +2, I don't know how to say it, but their foundations count for 2 when they're flipped.
Yeah.
A Breaker 1 still hurts them quite a bit.
Yeah, it does. So
I'm pretty sure all these attacks are mids. Or all the attacks of the versions that I've seen of them playing are mostly mids.
Yeah. Funny story about Liu Kang playing against Cassie is I played against a Cassie here in town, and I flooded 10 cards into his card pool. He was getting -30 on his block mods. So it was pretty hilarious. Yeah.
Shadow Inheritance is amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm actually surprised that card isn't unique or once per turn. I don't even know.
Well, it's a commit, so technically it is once per turn. Unless it gets stunned, then you get to use it over and over again. But yeah, Shadow Inheritance is I found out lately that's a card. Shadow Inheritance is a card.
That card is really good, especially in a meta where you're going to see Liu Kang at least 2 to 3 at most PTCs.
Oh yeah, he's going to be a popular guy for sure. Yeah.
There's probably going to be like 10 at Nationals, maybe like 7.
Oh, those are going to be a lot. Yeah, it's going to be nuts. That him, like Scorpion. I expect a bunch. Yeah, I expect to see a bunch of those guys. But yeah. Question though. Now, why did you take out? Why did you take out Throw It Down? Because it wasn't like didn't really mesh well with how you were trying to do your attacks, or.
So Throw It Down is one of my favorite cards. I put in the effort to go out and find the Terry Bogard version. I love that card.
Yes.
But with cards like Glow Kick in the deck, and Hydra Fork, Kersplat, it's a good card, but it can actually set you back from what you're trying to do.
Okay.
I actually was talking to Barrett from the Omaha group.
Yeah.
And he basically suggested, I should still run it maybe because I personally liked it.
Yeah.
But after he said that about the Glow Kick and stuff like that, it made perfect sense because I've had multiple times where I've ended up having to just save it in hand and use it as a block.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided to replace it with Templar as a 2-of and cut the action base down a little bit.
Yeah.
And the deck's been a lot more consistent and been able to push a lot more damage, even though I lose Throw It Down and lose that added 3 damage and the ability to draw. The consistency of being able to play cards like a Glow Kick and, Power Flip.
Akimbo and all that stuff. Yeah.
So, I mean, the card is amazing with Akimbo. But it sets you up so that you can't play stuff like Hydra Fork.
Sure.
Or Glow Kick. And it gives you too many awkward situations.
Gotcha.
Where I love that card. I actually think they should do another promo, but put Cassie art on it.
Cassie on it? Yeah. I'd be down with that. That'd be sweet.
If I was playing like a slightly different attack lineup, maybe no Hydra Fork.
Yeah.
If I was playing it off of Earth, I would definitely play that card. But
for sure.
On this version, I don't think it's the correct card for it.
Like I adapted this list to Turbo Man, and I play 4 Not Over Yet and 4 Throw It Downs because I get to play Scorch Wheel in the deck. So there's no I can just drop that, then play Scorch Wheel after I've played I go Not Over Yet, Foundation, Throw It Down, Power Flip, drop stuff, play another one, and do all that fun crazy stuff. So yeah, he got a nice shot in the arm from her support. So. Which is really nice because he's a fun character, and I'm just now I'm gonna have to add Senshi no Sanchu because I don't have that in my Turbo Man deck, and it needs to be in there because that's a linchpin, and that's something that I want to use, and because there was times where I've had like 12 cards in there. I remember you saying that you messaged me and you were like, I got like 13 cards in hand. It's the end of my turn. I don't know what to do.
I've had multiple games where I've had like 8 to 10 cards in the card pool and finished my turn with 7 to 8 cards in hand.
Yeah.
Because of Akimbo. I was playing Artifice Avarice in this deck, but I realized that it's actually just too much of a drawback more than a bonus.
Yeah.
The ability to draw a card is great. I might put a Singleton back in the deck.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it doesn't have a secondary effect outside of hope you check it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's it's got a +3 high block. It's does nothing for you while it's in play, so it was not worth the card slot. So I had to cut.
Now, one card I would suggest looking into is Merciless Master, because since you stack so much, have you tried that yet with her?
Yeah, I had 2 of them in the deck, and I cut them. And actually, the last week or so, I've been slowly putting them back in.
Okay.
It's back in the physical copy of the deck, but it's not on the list.
You gotcha.
I
do the same thing.
2 arranging deals in my physical copy and put those in there. Even though they have less of a block and they don't have a 6 check, the ability to stack the top of your deck with an attack like Nutcracker or Akimbo, and then use Glow Kick or Nutcracker's ability or basically any ability in the deck to draw that card so you can continue your attack string is just too strong. That card should actually definitely be back in the deck. I don't know why I didn't add it back on here, but there's two copies of my physical copy.
I do that all the time. My ultra lists are never the same as my physical decks because I change my physical decks more often than I do my ultra decks. So if people like to deck snipe me and oh man, what's Chris playing at Nats, blah 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 or whatever. Not that I'm not that big of a deal or whatever, but when people are looking for lists, I usually take the ultra version like a grain of salt because I'm just well, there's probably versions that they've already on their third or fourth version of this deck because every time you play a deck, it always changes because it's well, it's this matchup that this is missing. Stuff like that, I'm going to go add 2 Senshi to my deck, to my Turbo Man deck after we're done talking because I want that in the deck because I think that just needs to be in there. So
At first I wasn't too impressed with it.
Yeah.
But I didn't have it in my original version, but I was actually going through things looking for mid blocks.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine built Yamato Man.
Sure.
And he started the deck out just by putting every single card Yamato Man's on in the deck. And I was through it, and I read the card because I had never seen it before. And, the light bulb just went off in my head, I need this in Cassie. I have to have it in Cassie because that +2 after I play it just means, hey, look, my attack string is easier and easier.
And if you happen to build it, it's not that bad because you're already swinging for stuff so fast, your opponent can't block anyway. So if you ready something on their turn, on your turn, whatever. And it also works defensively, too. If they have, face downs that are committed, you can ready the face downs just to get +1s to your next check, which is really good. So that's another neat little piece there of defense you can use with her.
Yeah, no, I've done that many times, using it to just ready something to make my check easier.
Yep.
And the card has been surprisingly one of the MVPs of this deck.
Cool.
Being able to string attacks together.
That's awesome. I like that. I like when people see that they go through the testing and kind of like what I'm doing with the deck processing, where I'm building a deck and testing it out and then making changes and all that stuff. It's really neat to see people doing that and see how people grow in UFS just like that because it's such a complicated game and it's difficult and it's hard to win a game of UFS and it's even harder to make your deck perfect, which is what we're all trying to do. So yeah,
having a lot less experience with UFS than I do with other card games. Pretty much in every card game I've ever played, I've been a control player.
Yeah.
And when I started playing UFS, like I said, I started playing aggro right from the gate.
Yeah.
And it's a big difference for me because my mindset works differently than I'm used to. I'm trying to build the deck to be aggressive, but I keep trying to throw all these tech one-ofs in there just because of I want to play defensive.
Yeah.
Naturally, that's how I play.
Yeah.
I had Loyal Friend in here.
Yeah.
I had quite a few other tech 1-0s they're awesome, but I'm not trying to play it as a defensive deck.
Yeah, you just want to kill people as fast as possible. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, that's the whole plan. If I don't kill you by turn 3, I'm just going to scoop up my cards and walk away.
Yeah, I get you.
Not literally, but
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you go to game 2, and then you just shuffle up.
Yeah, go to game 2, or she can play the long game.
Yeah.
Luckily, she can, because she can draw cards and stack the deck. You can have games that just goes long, and you can still end up with 8 to 10 cards in your hand. Not a problem.
Yep.
And just keep pushing damage the more foundations you have, making it easier.
You got it.
Your opponent only has so many cards they have in hand, so you can, with this deck, you can play 7, 8 attacks in a turn if you go to the long game.
Yeah.
But I try not to do that with this deck.
Well, that's what we talked about on the Guile treatment, about how a deck that can scale properly can beat Anakaris like that. So, and then this would, if that would work, you're able to play that long game with her too. You can scale late and just start swinging for massive damage with her, which is pretty sweet. So that's something, that works. And I don't know, maybe Cassie will save us from the unkillable Demon King. So, I
mean, honestly, I'm debating whether or not to take her with me to Tampa for the PTC.
Sure.
I'm probably going to.
Cool,
just
man.
Because I love the deck. I know she's not going to be the best. But the way that she plays out is it's so enjoyable to play that even if I went and scrubbed out, I probably wouldn't care because I just have so much fun playing her.
See, and that's the one thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration in going to like an event like that. If you're comfortable with the deck and you have fun playing the deck, that's already 2/3 of the battle. The other third is actually sitting down and playing. Then,
from 25 years playing card games, I've learned the best deck for you to play is the deck that you know the best.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You can go into a field where your deck has like a 40% match versus the entire field.
Yep.
And if they've only been playing their decks for a week and they just spent all this money, but you've been playing your deck for 6 months, there's like a 90% chance that you're going to roll that field because more experience means you know what to do in those backhand situations where they think they have the upper hand, where they should have the upper hand, but if they have less experience with the deck than you, then they're on the back foot.
Yep.
Even if they're ahead, they're still on the back foot because you have a plan set out in your head because you've played the matchup 100 times.
Agreed. Totally agree. All right. Well, go ahead. You got any closing thoughts? We're almost to an hour, so.
Oh wow. No real closing thoughts.
All right.
I just think Cassie's a lot of fun to play.
Yeah.
So if you want a fun deck to play, her support is also really good in Plant Man, Turbo Man.
Mm-hmm.
Her support is really vicious.
Yeah.
Fall. Mm-hmm. She's just a lot of fun to play.
No, she's a blast. No, I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. I still think you should take this deck and play at one of the premier events. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm playing at the next premier event, but I think
just play one of your locals that you record on like a Wednesday. Just so I can watch the deck play from outside.
I'll do it. I'll do that for. I can't do it this week because I got Raiden. I got promises to play Raiden, but maybe on the 12th, the following week, I'll put it together. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna end it. We're gonna have to close because I know you have a hurricane to take care of. So and I got to take some care of some other things. We're at an hour, but Barry, thanks. I appreciate it. Coming on, and we'll have you on the gout treatment sometime, maybe sometime in like the later fall or maybe after Tampa or whatever, since I don't think we know anybody going, so maybe we'll get you on the gout treatment so we can get a an outside view onto the Florida PTC scene. Yeah. Cool. All right, man. Appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and log off, and we'll talk to you later. Good night, everyone.
All right. Later.